she had to go overseas because, like a lot of them have had to over the years, you got to supplement your income because the income that you're making at the WNBA isn't nearly enough. If Angel Reese had never waved her hand in her face when LSU was beating Iowa for in the Final Four of the national championship, I love Angel Reese. I think that Angel Reese is great. I think she's fantastic for the WNBA. The salary that you were going to make as a WNBA player, I'm all for that. But here's what I have a problem with, Tori.
In front of a sold-out crowd of 17,274, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever made WNBA history. But did you know the duo of Clark and Aliyah Boston combined for a record-breaking 9 blocks? That's just scratching the surface. From massive triple-doubles to career milestones, this game had everything. Watch on to relive the moments that redefined women's basketball forever. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Imagine this. Caitlin Clark rushes up the court, eyes scanning the defense, but not for a moment does her focus waver. She threads a no-look pass through 2 defenders like it's second nature. Just moments later, on the other end, Boston skies for a block and swats the shot so hard it bounces into the stands. That wasn't just basketball, it was 2 young stars putting an entire league on notice. This chemistry, this instant connection, somehow clicked in their very first game together. It felt effortless. Even though we all know that kind of synergy is anything but. Clark was, as expected, everywhere. She notched her 3rd triple-double faster than anyone in WNBA history, and when she dished out a behind-the-back assist or nailed a pull-up 3, it wasn't just flashy, it contributed to history. With 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists, Caitlin tied Alyssa Thomas for the 2nd most 20-point triple-doubles in league history, and this is still her rookie season. It's a reminder that no moment is too big for her. But you can't talk about that game without diving into Aliyah Boston's dominance.
But in terms of her popularity, it really soared after she took down Caitlin Clark. And then Caitlin Clark came back last year and got revenge by knocking LSU out in the Elite Eight, if I remember correctly. Angel Reese, in doing the things that she has done, let's face reality. She's going to be attached to Caitlin Clark to some degree. I love Angel Reese. I think that Angel Reese is great. I think she's fantastic for the WNBA.
She logged 19 points, snatched 13 rebounds, and threw in 5 blocks for good measure. Her stat line made her just the 2nd player in WNBA history to post those numbers in a season opener. Think about that, the 2nd ever. And this wasn't some defensive filler stat either. Her presence in the paint was pivotal. The combination of Clark's offensive creativity and Boston's defensive instincts is shaping up to be something rare. Together, they smashed records. Their combined 9 blocks. That's a new season opening record, making it clear this dynamic duo is terrifying, not just on offense, but on both ends of the court. Teams don't know how to plan for 2 young stars who can hurt you in every possible way. They've already started reacting. Did you hear that a handful of franchises have decided to move their Fever games to larger arenas just to meet demand? It's not just about stats. They're becoming the must-see show in women's basketball. That's why this feels less like an incredible debut and more like the start of something bigger. Teams are scrambling for solutions, but it's hard to solve dominance this balanced. And as Clark and Boston continue to refine their rhythm, other players are making monumental marks of their own. DeWanna Bonner's career milestone and the Clark vs. Angel Reese drama? Yeah, that made this night even wilder. Let's talk about that next. You know what's crazier than 11 records falling in one night?
Angel Reese, in doing the things that she has done, let's face reality. She's going to be attached to Caitlin Clark to some degree. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, to supplement your income by playing 3-on-3 basketball in the United States, in Miami specifically, for a few months where they're talking about doubling, we all know what happened with Brittany Griner when she went to Russia. We all felt like it was politicized and she was railroaded.
DeWanna Bonner rewriting the record books in the middle of it all. Bonner, the quiet force who's been a staple of this league for over a decade, just became the third all-time leading scorer in WNBA history. The crowd knew immediately how big this was. The game actually paused just for a minute as fans stood to give her the ovation of a lifetime. Younger fans with signs in Bonner jerseys stood next to older ones who probably watched her break into the league. It was one of those moments where everyone in the building felt connected, even players on the bench, opponents included, clapped and smiled. Bonner looked overwhelmed, but as always, she composed herself and got right back to work. And speaking of work, Clark and Reese stole the spotlight with a rivalry that lit the court on fire. It didn't take long for sparks to fly. Early in the second quarter, Clark drove to the basket for what looked like an easy layup, only to end up flat on the floor after a hard foul from Reese. It was ruled a flagrant almost instantly, and the crowd erupted, half in boos, half in cheers. What followed wasn't just tense basketball, but pure theater. Later in the game, Reese got hit with a technical, and you could see Clark smiling from the other side of the court. The history between them just feels like it belongs in the spotlight, doesn't it?
And so when you look at it from that standpoint, to supplement your income by playing 3-on-3 basketball in the United States, in Miami specifically, for a few months where they're talking about doubling, we all saw that. She suffered months of her life, okay? We don't wish that upon anybody. I think when you talk about the average salary, it was like approximately $124,000 if I remember correctly. Well, guess what? The average salary in the NBA is over $10 million. I love the fact that she's participating in this unrivaled league because she's made it very clear she doesn't want to have to go overseas to play.
But Reese backed up her intensity with yet another piece of WNBA history herself. In just her 35th game, she became the fastest player ever to hit 450 points and 450 rebounds, breaking Tina Charles's record. It's the kind of milestone that gets lost in the heat of a game like this, but the box score doesn't lie. This rivalry's energy didn't start in the pros. It goes all the way back to the college championships. And it's only bigger now with national media weighing in, fans arguing over every foul, media outlets replaying clips non-stop. What's wild is how the league is leaning into this. The league's already ramping up promos for their next matchup, hyping it like a finals preview, but there's a flip side. The WNBA also confirmed they're investigating disturbing racist comments directed at Reese online after the game. Clark and her teammates have been vocal in supporting Reese, calling for those responsible to be held accountable. There's undeniable heat between them, but the mutual respect off the court sets a standard for this league. And really, that's what this game was about: legacy, rivalry, and new chapters being written for women's basketball. The Indiana Fever didn't just beat the Chicago Sky, they sent the rest of the WNBA a clear warning. Together, Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston are rewriting what it means to dominate, game after game, while DeWanna Bonner continues cementing her legacy. This team is turning every matchup into must-watch basketball, and we've only scratched the surface of their potential. Think about it. Could we be witnessing the birth of the next great dynasty? Don't miss a second of the Fever's journey this season, and make sure you're tuned in for the next chapter of Clark and Angel Reese's growing rivalry.